Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens, and it's been a while, but this is a deep interview. I am joined today by Mello. You might know from such works as Tokyo Toe 2, Denshattack, new video game, variety of things. Welcome, Mello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. It has been a while, and boy,
It has.
you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been pretty stacked recently.
Might also know Mello from the beginning of the music from this show for like the last 7-8 years or something like that. So you are familiar with his work, whether you know it or not. So before we get into it, this is mostly around Denshattack and what's going on right now, which people who are listening to this right now, I think you probably will have already heard our Denshattack episode. I just personally finished playing that game yesterday. But anything you want to let people know about before we get started on any interviewee stuff, upcoming projects, etc.?
Yeah, I'm currently also working on an album in parallel, which is Rhythm Pools 2. It's the second in a series of 4 albums exploring a lot of tracks I have from the past that I didn't quite finish. That I thought were really worthy to get out there, but just didn't really fit on any albums up to this point. I'm having a lot of fun finishing them and putting them in different categories based on their mood. So each album kind of represents a different mood, and this one is a summery feel.
Nice. So is it going to be Rhythm Pools 2, parentheses, summery feel?
No, it's effervesce. So it's the spirit of becoming alive again and bubbling up and being very ecstatic.
Awesome. Well, folks should look forward to that. And you're also on tour, correct?
Yeah, I guess so.
Technically.
I'm just done playing a show in New York. I played a show in Chicago a couple months before that. And I'm going across California. I'm doing a show in LA on August 8th, and then I am coming up to San Francisco on August 13th, and on August 14th, I'll be playing a show as part of Mag West, the convention in San Jose.
That's awesome. And are you like road tripping it or flying in?
So I flew into New York. I'm flying into LA, and then road tripping with TVMA, my frequent feature collaborator, and yeah, road tripping up to San Francisco and San Jose with them.
Awesome. That's really fun. How have you done many live shows before?
I did a lot more. I can't even say how many when I was younger. In high school, senior year of high school to like up to the third year of college, I did quite a lot, and then they were sprinkled out after that. But I think my music, I felt, didn't always translate very well to live because I was really focused on instrumental stuff, especially like the mashups and remixes of video game music, which was more like a DJ set. But I didn't really have the connections and acumen to like do an actual DJ set. So I was doing these like rapper bookings, but as an instrumental player, and I just felt like I don't have the right skill set to do this right now. I'm going to back off and I'll come back to it later.
And how's it going coming back to it now? I guess now is later.
Now is later, and it's much more later than I expected it to be. But yeah, I just like was talking with my manager, who was also TVMA, about like the things that I could do to broaden the scope of like who listens to me, who knows about me at this point, because I feel like I have sort of exhausted the online space, but also the online space is difficult to promote in these days, just because everything is kind of going the way of dead internet, and bot infestation,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the restrictiveness of it all currently. So one of the ways that we had that was untapped was to get out there and play some live shows to see and meet who actually listens to my music and to see just how much support I have out there, being a bonus, because it is a rather isolated job, especially not only working alone on music, but working as a distant contractor for pretty much all the video games that I work on.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been amazing. I found that I hadn't really lost the like live rapping skills or the ability to connect with an audience and to not be nervous or any of that. It kind of all came back immediately with the first Chicago show, and it was surprising. But I guess I do should have to hand it to my formal self that I did spend like 6 or 7 years rapping live, so it makes sense that I wouldn't be completely shook by it. But yeah, I have like, despite being a pretty shy, reserved person, I do also have like a natural attention-seeking performance thing. I don't really understand how that works, but like it really, I think it really helps, and it almost feels unfair to have a lot of pre-established rapport with people who have been listening to my music for a long time and picking up on my personality through that. So like when it comes to the shows, they're already ready to cheer me on. They know the lyrics for a surprising amount of songs. Like they're super engaged, and um, it's kind of hard to not give that energy back when you have an audience like that. So I think I've started getting bolder and bolder with each show. Like for the third one in New York, I went out into the crowd and rapped one of the songs just in the middle of everybody
Oh, that's awesome.
with the microphone. So, um, and I think I'll do that some more.
It's really fun. And now that you're kind of getting back into live stuff, just like a live music question, how do you like, are you kind of involved in producing the whatever the lights or production values, smoke, any of that sort of stuff with the show? Or is that mostly the venue that's kind of coordinating and going based off of your warm ups and your practice and what they think will fit?
Yeah, for me, right now, I'm going to smaller venues that kind of already have like their engineer, their light and sound figured out. The one that I played recently did have a fog machine, but I'm basically going with what they have for me, and I've been super lucky for both of the places to sound and look awesome so far. Like these smaller venues, I guess would be labeled as DIY,
Mhm.
um, but wonderful, wonderful sound systems, excellent lights. Everything is perfectly clear. Much more clear than I remember some of my shows being in the past, actually. I don't know if that tech has just gotten better or what, but yeah, it's mainly like I feel like with the visual setup, I could be as involved as I want to be, and I
Mhm.
have made a little video. If the place has a projector, they can project behind me. I have made a little video loop of some of my visuals that I created for YouTube uploads, or that some of the artists that I had created.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Turning to Denshattack specifically, um, I had some questions on this. So, like, Denshattack, the main developer of Denshattack, they're based out of Barcelona. So, when the game was first announced, August 19th, 2025, was when the world knew about it. When did they reach out to you? Like, when do you know you're making music for this game?
I think it was probably 2024. I'm not entirely sure of the exact time, but I think it was like a good. I think I was making songs for it probably like 6 months before it got announced. And at the time I was brought on, it already looked very, very polished. Um, and there was just like so much game to be made, but the levels they were showing me looked really good already. So it was like a very confident, um, well put together project. Like by the time I saw it, I don't know exactly how long the dev time on it was, but for something where every part of it is so original, like it doesn't seem to have had a lot of muddling around. Like they knew exactly what they wanted to do, it seems. Like I didn't come on it at a point where it was like, well, we're still trying to make this fun or whatever. Like they had it already ready to go.
That's awesome. And Undercoders, I mean, they've got a ton of games under their belt, so it seems like they at least know how to make a game. You know, there hopefully wasn't that much of a question of whether this would be a fun thing that ships at
Oh
some
yeah.
point.
Yeah, this feels like a victory lap slash like dream game kind of thing.
Mhm.
Almost like the people at what's that developer called? The Tango Gameworks. The people there, the way they talked about Hi-Fi Rush, this
Mhm.
almost seems like that kind of let your dreams not be dreams anymore kind of game. Let's actually make this thing. And yeah, it's like a brilliant idea that works so well in execution. It's
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
astounding, like the experience of playing it. I actually hadn't played all the way into like while developing it, while making the music, because I kind of like wanted to just approach it from watching footage. I felt like if I played, I might it might change the way that I made the music.
Mhm.
So I wanted to wait and play along with everyone else. So I played on launch. And it's just incredible how such it is the rare game that actually looks harder than it is. Like most games are made to look easy by footage, and then you play it and you find that it's hard. This one looks like it would be impossible to play with footage, and then you actually lay hands on it. It's like, oh no, this is surprisingly intuitive.
It is. It's got a really different control scheme than anything else I've
Yeah.
played, and that
Hmm.
takes a little getting used to. But once you get
Yeah.
used to it, like I will say, this is a game that when I play it in front of people, they are having as much fun watching as I am having playing, and they are
Yeah.
noticing things that I just simply can't because it's so fast.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, when I got to the first level that had like little signs for what route you want to take through the level, I was just amazed. Like, oh, this is like it's on rails, but it still manages to be like a Tony Hawk feeling level with different areas that have different objectives.
yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, the game itself is like it's got Tony Hawk Downhill Jam in it. It's got regular Tony Hawk in it. It's obviously got a lot of Jet Set Radio in it.
Hmm.
And I mean, it feels in a lot of ways like, hey, the early 2000s is back and it plays better than those games did in a lot of cases, and looks cooler. And I'm just wondering, like, as someone who's been making music, in some ways inspired by Jet Set Radio, in some ways inspired by other genres, um, like, what's it like having kind of worked in this kind of sound space for so long and now seeing just a series of games come up with that aesthetic and that sound in mind? You know, it feels in a lot of ways like you've been here and now the moment's come to you, you know, just ready for your sound.
Yeah, yeah, it always felt that way. Even making that first album, like these are the sounds that I studied just slightly after they were contemporary. I think like I started
Mhm.
making music in 2001 ish, and I got up to the level where I could identify and recreate sounds like maybe a couple years after that. And I was really into breakbeat, big beat, jungle, drum and bass that use samples. Um, like just slightly after its peak because people were getting more into like this uh really dance floor heavy D&B like Pendulum, um and moving away from the more sample based funkier stuff, and but that was always kind of my core, the sound that I was interested in. And to have it started to come back um around the time just before me making that the Memories of Tokyo To album in 2018. So it kind of felt like I met the moment and walked right into like this perfect convergence of this stuff and this stuff becoming popular again. Um, and at the same time, I've had already been making it for so long up to the time that like we're in a full swing wave right now with like video game timing. They're going to be able to fully hit whatever trend is going on like 2 years late
Hmm.
because of game development times. So right now we're in like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk in another game from that studio coming is in the same vein. We have we had Roller Drome.
Hmm.
We have Hyper Yuki snowboard game. We have Denshattack. We have all these things coming at around the same time, possibly even a new Jet Set Radio, but that still remains to be officially revealed.
Morangi Generation, too.
Yeah, Umurangi Generation. There are so many games with this vibe right now, and I guess sometimes I feel like um, what an elder statesman of the sound, or like at least that I've been tinkering with it for a long time. So um, yeah, I have moved past making stuff that sounds very similar to Jet Set Radio, and I'm more infusing it with different things because I kind of have to keep it fresh for myself. And it's still a sound that's very in high demand, but it's also a sound that's very easy to like flanderize um, and make it uh, somewhat stale. And I just can't ever let that happen to it because I think it's too beautiful. So I try really hard to, for every new project that I'm asked to lend stuff to just try to do it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, have you, speaking as like being kind of an elder statesman of the sound in many ways right now, especially in the games space, have you had anyone come up to you and say that you inspired them to take up the sound, to like you're their point of reference?
Yeah, quite a few actually, and I think that they're absolutely fantastic at it in a way that really, really impresses me. Like that I had anything to do with this. One is someone I collaborated with just recently, Bonesaw,
Hmm.
real name Honesty, who is a both an incredible visual artist and incredible musical artist um, who pays homage to that sound in like a completely different way than I do, but still is identifiable as coming from the same source. And that was just amazing and inspiring to see how someone else works with it. And I think it's gonna like charge me up in turn. I always at the around the beginning times of me working on this sound publicly, like 2018 to 2020 ish, I felt like there weren't, not that there weren't any, but that I wish there were more people doing it at the same time that were bringing interesting things to it.
Hmm.
And now I feel like we're spoiled for choice of how many people you could hear making this kind of sound.
Sure. And you can hear it kind of in the Denshattack soundtrack. Like there's a lot of collaborators on here, which is
Yeah.
making me wonder. Like you've done whole game soundtracks in the past. You've done some where you contribute 1, 2 songs. This one's kind of in between. You've got 5 songs in the final soundtrack. At 6, I think, if you include the credit. I think it's a credit song or like the
Oh, yeah.
extra song.
Mhm.
Um, how does it change your approach or change your relationship with working with the studio to have kind of a master engineer or a kind of a sound director who's working with you versus when you have full creative control or and also full creative responsibility on a project?
So, I tend to like if there are other musicians on the soundtrack who've already created stuff, I really like to listen to their stuff and not only make sure that I kind of don't repeat or sound similar, but that I also like let it hype me up to like do a friendly competition sort of thing.
Mhm.
Like on this one, especially, like some of us know each other already previously, but it was just like everyone was one-upping the sound uh, with every new draft, and it was super fun to just be like, "Oh, look what I got! Look what I got!" It's like almost like a rap cipher sort of thing of everyone just understanding that vibe of like being excited about new music dropping in the dev chat, not only for because you know it's going to be great, but also because you know it's going to push you to be like, oh no, wait, look what I can do. So it was that kind of environment. I think that's why like the soundtrack altogether is so expansive and so powerful. Because we have the three core composers who did most of the music, which is T. Lopes, Andrew One, and Sean Bialo. Um, and they did like absolutely amazing, iconic tracks that I think are like the core thrust of the game. And then you have the composers like Kota Takahashi and myself and Evelyn Lark, who there's so many to name that did one or more songs as like the second level of contributions. And I feel like we were all given levels and given like a surprising amount of background for what the situation was going to be in our levels. Like this was not a let's just have you produce for this visuals aesthetic and throw in whatever you think works. We had very specific stages, which you might be able to tell by
Mhm.
playing the game that all the songs are uniquely suited to the stage they're in. But um, so we had a lot of background for what to deliver, and yeah, this composition process went really really smoothly because of that excited energy of everyone knowing just how good the soundtrack was going to be and giving their A game. Like I think at at best, like if video games and game developers want to do collaborative soundtracks like that, I think that you really need to, if you can get people who are familiar with working with each other, or at least familiar with each other's sounds, and have a pool like that where everyone is kind of working in visibility of each other, I think is a great idea because you do get this like healthy one-upmanship that is really really fun.
That's awesome. And you know, so you knew, did you know like how the levels that you were composing for were supposed to play? Like, were they playable when you first were approached? Like, when did you get to see kind of the scope of the level that you were writing for, or was it, you know, here's kind of a prompt of what we think it's going to be when it's complete?
I
Because you've
believe
got some of the
for
biggest levels in the game. Honestly, I was waiting for it.
yeah,
I
I didn't even know that, so I'm excited because I haven't gotten to any of my songs in
I
the
know
game yet.
that was one thing. I was like, I'm like half. I think I'm halfway through this game, and I haven't heard any of them yet. But yeah, you're heavily featured in some of the climactic moments of this game.
Nice. I think my earliest one might be World 5 or something like that. Um, but I I did get to see most of like the full playthroughs of these levels. Like not all the assets were complete or whatever. Um, but I got to see the full playthroughs of almost all of them. I think the track called Forgotten Snowfields was made with I think I just had images of the train dodging some like placeholder ice blocks, and I was like,
Mhm.
that's enough. I can make an ice level from that. So I didn't have the full level from that one exactly, but I'm always ready to make an ice level. Like they may not be the most fun to play in every game, but you know they're always going to have great music because there's a certain like vibe that video game developer that video game composers lock into when you say ice.
Yeah,
We
most
all know
definitely.
what to do. It's like we were born with it.
Yeah, for sure. And then I mean, I guess you've got a kaiju level. You've got some. Uh, like, did you know that there was going to be a level with a giant monster rampaging in one of the?
I didn't. I think I had heard like some rumblings, no pun intended, of there being a kaiju somewhere in the game, but that was actually the final track that I made. It was kind of like they got to have me on for one more extra. They had enough time and enough budget. Um, and I was obviously like right immediately down to do something for a kaiju, so I designed my own little kaiju roars to play in the song, and made them sound as if I had like sampled them from a classic movie. Yeah, that track is one of my favorites. It just felt like, all right, my main duties on the game are done, so I can kind of shake that off and just make something really fun for this last one. Like, no one had any precise expectations for it other than it should sound a little harder and have some electric guitar. So I did that, but I kind of went in like a New Jack Swing-ish direction with it. I really like the energy of that song. I think that one and On My Track are probably my favorite things that I made for the soundtrack.
I really enjoyed On My Track, and I really enjoyed the level it's in as well. So it fits very well. I don't want to spoil you on on when to expect your own stuff.
Word. Yeah, I'm excited.
Do you know how much of the song is gonna be looped for these levels? Because the songs themselves, I think, top out at like 2.5 minutes, but the loops, it seems like, at least for some of them, are tighter actually in game. Do you know how much it's going to be kind of cut down for gameplay purposes?
Well, I set the loop file when I actually send the song in. I set it to have like a starter and a loop. So the starter segment will play the intro, which is usually like custom crafted, and it's kind of hard to loop back into an intro from the full thrust of a song. So there will usually be a starter file that has the whole intro and plays to the end, and then the loop will pick up from somewhere within that starter, and then that part is made to loop forever. But a couple of the songs had different edits by our mastering engineer, which is Andrew, who's also one of the primary composers. So the final in-game loops might be slightly different than what I had submitted.
Okay. Because I definitely noticed it more with like Ride With Me, because there's vocals throughout it.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that
was
one.
just
Yeah, I wasn't even sure that was going to be in the game. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what they did with that one. But I basically, in addition to this like in-game asset file, they also have all these stems and everything, so they can pretty much do whatever they want with the song. Like taking the vocals out and maybe just looping the instrumental part, which is something I suggested. Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil you on what happens.
Okay.
Speaking of Ride With Me, how was collaborating with Miyachi? How does that actually work? Like, did you reach out to him? Did the producers, did Andrew One reach out to some potential rappers to collaborate? Like, how does that come together?
So we had a great musical support on the game, which I think is practically necessary for being able to balance this amount of musicians and contributors in Kid Katana Records, the record label that sort of brought us all on. And they were also able to bring on the collaborators for us and handle everything from the I guess, musical financial side of splitting everyone's profits and everything, and communicating with the managers of some of these artists. So I was basically given free reign of, to some extent of rappers that they could reach out to for me. And Miyachi was one of the ones suggested, and I really love his music, and I love his work on the Combini Confessions YouTube series as well. I really think those videos are like an important part of breaking down boundaries of what people are really like in Japan for us here in the US. And I think that kind of goes with the theme of traveling all around Japan as well, because he really goes everywhere inside the country to do those videos. And I like just made the beat, sent it over hoping it wouldn't be too weird because it does have, it is mostly like double time, very quick drum and bass beats. And then slows down for a certain part. But like I got the lyrics back, the vocal track, and it was already so awesome. I just made a couple touches underneath it, and then I think they did the final vocal recording. So it was only like 2 back and forths before it was done, and yeah, I was really happy how much of the frenetic energy of the mix was able to be maintained with vocals. Um, because there is always a concern about them being buried if an instrumental is too active, but I had like confidence that I could balance it out because I also have experience rapping over my own stuff, that I could kind of clear space for him. And I was just hoping that like everyone was cool with it and nobody was like, oh, a manager being like, oh, he sounds too buried or whatever. But the mix got through in exactly the way I had hoped for. And yeah, it went really smoothly.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I for me personally, like I've been listening to his music for a very long time as well. So seeing both of you on the same track, I was like, wait a second. This is a dream team up right here. This is awesome. Yeah, so the whole sound of this game is just really iconic. It sounds great from start to finish, and I feel like it plays really well too. You know, like the music does not get in the way of the gameplay or vice versa, hardly at all. And I just love the way everything comes together as you're playing it for sure. Have you, like, now as the person who's playing it, have you been overwhelmed by the experience at all? Because it's a game that can overwhelm you with how fast everything is sonically, visually, the inputs that it's asking for you.
So I have only gotten to mostly through the first world, and I don't even think I've reached the first boss yet, which I've heard is quite a moment. So I don't think I have reached the full level of overwhelm that the game is capable of. But so far I've found it like I cannot believe that I'm able to intuit this. I think what helps a lot is the quick restart, and they're not, as far as I know, unless maybe for high execution like gold medal wannabe havers, I don't think there is any penalty to crashing.
There's a little score penalty and a little time
Okay.
penalty, but it's not like
I
much.
see.
And there's some like trains that you can get that will have more severe penalties for crashing. But it's hardly it's if you're just trying to get through the game, no, there isn't really.
Yeah, as someone who's just trying to get through the game, and I know that the like gold, silver, bronze doesn't really affect things as much as the score does, I believe. I think that it's like extremely encouraging and doesn't feel punishing at all to learn and to be like, okay, this is the series of things I'm going to have to do after I respawn. Like, I'm getting used to it now. Like, it's a really good setup for letting you actually learn these tracks. And I can see how it would be attainable if I was to want to spend enough time. It would be attainable to do like perfect execution on some of them.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that I needed to realize that I was going to have to come back to levels. And
Oh
if I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to get
It's
golds,
just, it's like, so I play classic games mixed in with modern games, and I feel that when I first started to actually go back to classic games, I had a huge hang up of just like how difficult they are, and I have to realize it's because these games were meant to be actually mastered to a certain extent before you could move on. Like some of them are just unfair for sure. Some of them are just unwisely hard. But like games back then at that time, you were meant to have to do a lot of tries. Whereas games these days, I think they're designed so to not make you have to do 2 or 3 more tries before they're shoving a lot of helpful hints in your face because they really want you to finish and experience all the expensive assets.
for sure.
that they set out for you. But Denshattack is definitely one of those classic games where it's like, you're going to need to become at least serviceable at this if you want to see everything. Like it doesn't, I guess if I could say, it doesn't care if you think it's too hard and don't want to proceed. Like, it's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, it is an old school arcade game, And when I say that, I mean, like, I could see this in an arcade very easily, like making it score attack. You pick a level and then try and get the best score you possibly can.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing. I haven't played a game with this sensibility in a while.
Yeah, it could be not to someone's taste, but I think personally that if you are able to dedicate just a little time and grace to it, like, it will be thrilling in a way that a lot of games aren't anymore for your brain. And you can really lock into it in a pleasant way where, there are a lot of games that muddle themselves down with systems and just like a lot of in between space of engaging with smaller things. And it can be really refreshing to play something that is just about doing this one thing really, really well. And it becomes addicting.
And really cool. It's
Yeah.
doing something really well and really stylish, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about making a jump, it's making a jump while doing a 360,
Yeah, constantly squeezing in as much tricks as you can.
Yeah, I mean, look, some game needed to be bold enough to ask the question, what if a train was a skateboard? And I'm glad that Denshattack was the game that was brave enough to do it. One other question on just like producing the music for this game, like, because the developers are based out of Barcelona, did that change like any of your process for collaborating? Like, was there like a separate kind of music collaboration where all the musicians are working, or are you having to reach out and then wait half a day for people to wake up in Barcelona and get back to you?
Yeah, it's mostly trying to get drafts in before, I would say, like 5 p.m. Eastern, which is, I believe, like 10 p.m. or something. It's definitely phone turned off time over there. So basically trying to get your drafts in as early in the day as possible. Sometimes I would save something to post early on the next day. But it really didn't reach that level where feedback, like the deadlines, I actually don't even know that there was one deadline for Ride with Me that I actually was aware of coming up. But other than that, I think I finished everything ahead of deadline. So there weren't a lot of pressing moments of like, this needs to be finished Friday. I send in a draft early Wednesday so that I can respond on Thursday. There wasn't a whole lot of that mathing it out, because I think I just got everything done early enough. But yeah, there is definitely a consideration, and there is kind of a like, okay, I turn in my stuff at the end of the day, and then I wake up to the result a little bit.
Was this your first time working on an international team?
No, I've worked with international teams before, and I've also worked with teams in Japan for like localization purposes, where it is very literally like all of their work will be done while you were asleep. You will wake up to it, you will respond, but you will never kind of be, quote unquote, in the same room. Like, you will never be typing at the same time in the Slack or whatever chat. Like, you're really handing it off to the next shift.
Okay, makes sense. Working with international teams is tough.
I think if I was working on a really long, really dedicated game with an international team, like in Australia or Japan or somewhere where the sleep schedule is completely flipped, that I would make an effort to shift around my schedule a little to be there at a time when they're actually like communicating, just to get in on kind of the heat of the process.
Totally makes sense. And it's been a pretty busy year for you. I feel like you got Bop It, you got Demon Tides, you got Denshattack. Like, how do you manage to do your own independent work, like Rhythm Pool's O2, with all of the work on games that you're also mixing in?
Yeah, it can be really hard to do both at the same time. I typically have to do kind of little handoffs for that. Like I can chip away at a personal project while making the game project the focus, but I feel that to actually finish an album project, I do have to have a few months where there is not a game, or at least there's not like a significant full OST type of contribution. Um, Usually, game work can be spread out over time because video games take so long to develop. Demon's Tides was pretty rigorous. Bop It was also pretty rigorous. Like they wanted to really push in the development time to be pretty orderly. But there are some games where you can do like one track in a month and a half, and that's a fine pace because the rest of the game is taking so long. So in those, it really depends on like the time demands of the video game project I'm working on. But uh, stuff can become a traffic jam at times, and unfortunately, the personal project is always the one that has to kind of take, that has to kind of be factored out. And I usually announce my personal project's release dates like a month and a half from when they're done, when I'm sure I have a path to finishing them, and no earlier, because I can't really plan or predict what the schedule is going to be like. But I am getting a little better at that now that I have a manager. Being able to look forward at like what's August going to look like? What do I have coming out for these each months, so I could see when is some time that I have a lot of time and just plan ahead of time to reserve that for my album instead of just taking these jobs on the fly.
Makes a ton of sense. Yeah, and it better to be too busy than not busy, I guess, too.
Yeah, no, it's a blessing that so far in my time in games from, I'd say from like 2019 to now, still ongoing, I get enough people coming to me for work that I don't actually have to go out and advertise my services too much. Because I can only take on too many games, a certain amount of games at a time. Like if I was taking on everything, it would definitely become unwieldy. But the I've gotten a steady stream of jobs that I'm interested in taking that has kept me occupied without having to say, "Hi, I'm Mello. I'm a game composer. Here's what I've worked on. Let me reintroduce myself." And I don't even know what that would look like now because the any time that I have to like self-promote in that way, the social media landscape has changed drastically.
Yeah, an
Like
entire site has died.
Yeah, I definitely would not be able to give people recommendations on how to promote specifically now because it's such a different environment than I feel like the time that I did my best promotion was probably like 2013 to 2018. And that is just such a different time now.
Sure, I don't even know. I make TikTok videos and hope that they hit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the recommendation that I usually give is something that I've seen my friend Chris have some success with as a composer, which is to actually go straight up to devs and make like some fan music basically for their project, like smaller games that you're really interested in. Make some fan music for them as a way to sort of show what you can do, but you can also limit how much of it you do from your musician side to not take up too much of your time doing it. Like maybe a 45-second to a minute little song pitch that's not fully complete, but it's just something cool that you did, and see how people respond to it. Like, hey, now I'm not just asking if I can make something for your game. I already have something here. Is something I did a few times back in the day, and I think that kind of direct engagement is still effective. Like this isn't fake bullshit advertising. This isn't me just asking it again and again for a collab. This is me having actually made something that is directly linked to your thing.
Yeah, that's really good advice for up and coming composers for sure. I guess it is time for rapid fire questions, if you're okay with that. I've got some rapid fires.
Can do.
Okay, here we go. Rapid fires. What games are you currently playing?
Final Fantasy 13, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Denshattack.
Wait a second. You're playing why 13?
Because I had to know, and honestly, I'm loving it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I understand the flaws for sure, but after not really enjoying 15 or 16, all that much, looking back at this one has just been like, oh yeah, no, they had something from you can still feel the era that I love shining through this thing.
Yeah, to look forward. If you like 13, you will probably like 13 too. It's a
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna
weird-ass game.
continue. Yeah, I'm really excited to see that because they don't do that very often. And when they last did it with Tin 2, that was also a weird game. So I'm excited for that.
And 13.3 is like it's a whole other level of weird.
Oh man, yeah, I'm very excited.
What movies are you currently watching?
Oh, well, I watched Obsession and Backrooms,
Okay.
like most everyone on the planet, and I really enjoyed both.
You both of your answers have jumped to some of my later questions. So Backrooms or Obsession?
Backrooms or Obsession.
You gotta pick one. Sorry.
I think I am going to pick Backrooms because Obsession was so upsetting that I probably won't watch it again. Whereas Backrooms, I could see it being like a beloved favorite that I go back to a lot more. Yeah, Obsession was just hit very close to home, I think, in a way where I'm like, fun, really good. Don't need to engage with that again.
Makes sense. Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy, like I think Dragon Quest is so pure. They're both amazing, but personally, I feel I might catch a lot of hate for this, but I feel that Dragon Quest repeats elements a lot, so that it could conceivably be like if you've played a really good one, you've almost played them all, kind of thing. And there is like it's a cozy, comfortable place to go back to. And I've played multiple Dragon Quests. But I think Final Fantasy, you literally just never know what they're going to do.
Yeah, it's really the opposite in many ways. Dragon Quest is iterating and always executes, and Final Fantasy sometimes it's just a crapshoot. Sometimes it's excellent, and you never know.
That is the thing that Dragon Quest's like it knows what it's good at, and it just keeps doing it better and better. So that is the benefit on their side.
What music are you listening to other than your own?
That's really tough. I've been delving into the discography of I guess you would call it ambient artist named Susumu Yokota, who does some sample based stuff with ambient music that I think I've been wanting to look into making some ambient music, and I feel like his approach is very similar to what I could see myself doing. So I've been pretty obsessed with him. I've also been listening to DJ Crush because I've been wanting to do more discography deep dives, and I just decided to listen to everything he had made. And De La Soul's album Stakes is High has recently had its 30th anniversary, so I've been listening to that again.
Cool. What is the best sound sample pack?
I think Zero G Total Funk has so much in it. Like, it has both instruments and drums. It really has everything you need to create like funky breakbeat style music. I could say like if you could just pick one pack to start making the kind of music that I make, I would choose that one.
What is your favorite instrument to play?
Saxophone. I love playing a lead instrument. As I think there's a lot of really good chordal key type instruments that can be made within a computer, but synthesizer leads are hard to differentiate. And I think playing like a big, like throaty, very humanistic, organic lead sound is really pierces through my production. So I love the saxophone. It's also just fun as hell.
All right. Speaking of things you can program into a song, what is your favorite instrument to program into a song?
Definitely the keys. Like, I think everything for me really starts when I pick a chord progression to work with. that's when I can decide, oh, the song is going to be awesome, or the song doesn't have momentum and I need to scrap. Like once I nail down what the chord progression is going to be, and I am very much a fan of chord progressions, not as much a fan of like a a smaller chord progression or even just doing one chord for a song. So whenever I nail down that chord progression, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm locked in now. I can do whatever I want with this song now.
What is the highest number of tracks you've had on a song you've made?
I think definitely in the early 100s, I think, and that would have been on the Sound of Tokyo to a Future project. There was a lot of complicated songs in that one, and I don't remember off the top of my head what was the most complicated, but I know there were some that pierced through 100, and that was just a hell of a thing to manage.
Jeez. If you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be musically?
I really love Humming Urban Stereo. It's a Korean producer who brings on like a rotating cast of vocalists, but originally had one vocalist. And I love his work, and I just think it fits. It's so creative with samples and strangeness, but also being so accessible and listenable and funky that I feel like it's really similar to my own style.
Awesome. Silent Hill or Resident Evil?
You know, I'm leaning more and more Resident Evil these days because I feel like it's getting a lot more powerful, and I'm starting to appreciate the stupidity of it more as time goes on. But I think like I would be lying if I didn't say Silent Hill. I'm really excited for Townfall, and I think just the substance and stacks of metaphorical power and the music and sound design of Silent Hill when they're at their best just push it to something that you can't get in horror media, let alone horror games. Like peak Silent Hill is only there. Like that energy is exclusive to this thing.
Yep, agree for sure. Ice cream or shaved ice?
Oh, shaved ice for sure. Easy. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's gonna be a controversial take, I think.
I don't care. Ice cream is overrated.
Fair enough. What is your favorite kaiju?
Buy a latte. Giant plant, amazing designs, because I think both of her designs are beautiful. Also, like a poetic existence, which is something I really appreciate with a kaiju, of just like this thing was just trying to live, but just because of its size and its disruptiveness on the existing like human society, like that's the only reason that it has to go. And I feel that way about Shin Godzilla as well. But Biollante just is a beautiful existence that just can't be.
Tony Hawk or Jet Set?
That's very tough. I'm going to say probably Tony Hawk, because I'm thinking specifically gameplay. It sounds crazy, being that I'm like a Jet Set person, but I mostly love those games because I think the style, the music, and the art are just tippity top. But when Tony Hawk specifically is paired against Jet Set, that gameplay wins out. It's just some of the best video game gameplay of all time. I'm not a sports game person at all, but I've spent hundreds of hours in Tony Hawk 2.
And if you, well, one, Denshattack doesn't make you choose, which is fun. That's kind of does both.
Yeah.
Two, if you haven't played Skate Story, you might want to try it. If you're,
Oh yeah, no, I played the demo and loved it. I need to get back to that one.
it is cool. We played Skate Story earlier in the year, and playing both of these games, both kind of trying to capture skateboarding and alternative, I guess, modes of transport in the city in stylish ways, but coming at it from two very different perspectives. It's very cool. And this question comes in kind of from the Discord. So they wanted me to know. They wanted me to ask, what are the songs on Bomb Rush Cyberpunk contains the lyrics ass 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 ass? When do you plan to make a song with similar or ideally the same lyrics?
Absolutely never in my life.
Ever in your life? Ugh. Okay. Well, that's all they wanted me to ask.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Folks, again, check out Mello's work on Denshattack. You can also Rhythm Pools 2 coming out soon. Go catch a live show if you can. LA, San Francisco. So LA on August 8th, San Francisco August 13th, and then San Jose August 14th. Correct?
Yeah. You got it.
All right. Anything I missed? You want to plug or say?
No. Did you say Rhythm Pools 2?
I said Rhythm Pools. Hey,
did.
Rhythm Pools
Okay.
2, people.
I'm
Check
on. I'm on. When it comes to the outro, I get on autopilot a little bit. I'm just ready to smile and nod.
You're fine.
So-
and then just Bandcamp is the best place to support you directly, right?
Yes, it sure is.
Mello on Bandcamp, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's 2mellowmakes.bandcamp.com, but like thankfully due to all the years I've been doing this shit, I actually have incredible SEO now, so I'm sure you will find me.
Excellent. And for regular plugs for this show, you can get in touch with the show at deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. That's the email address. deeplistens.libsyn.com. That's where we host the show. deeplistenspodcast.bluesky.social. That's our social media. And you can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. Thank you, Mello.
Thank you so much.
And until next time, peace.
Bye.
Break it down.